Here's how you give people feedback, especially to those people who have a huge ego and that you can't even say anything negative about them without them exploding all over your face or all up in your face. That sounds better. You probably fall into one of these two categories. You're either somebody who doesn't give people feedback, so they're playing the nice guy, and this was me. I always came off as the nice guy because I just never gave anyone negative feedback. If I had something to say about what someone's doing, even if they're doing something wrong, I would never say it. Or you're the other type of person, which is someone who's very blunt, and people think you're an asshole. You just tell them how it is. You see somebody doing something wrong, you just tell them that's wrong. And you can even say it nicely, but you're still basically saying the words, that's wrong, don't do that, I don't like that, whatever. Now, there's a time and place where you can be either the nice guy or the asshole, and this is very easily evident with myself and my younger brother, because I was always the nice guy, and him being the younger brother is the asshole. All right, that's better. And you all know younger siblings, they get away with more things, so naturally, that's just how it plays out. But the point is, there's actually a way to do it, which is the middle ground between being the asshole and the nice guy. So back when I used to train people for sales, so I used to teach them how to do sales, my trainees would always come out very successful. They would always take my feedback, and if they applied it, naturally, they would be better. And I had other coworkers who were even better than me at sales, but they had a really, really hard time teaching anyone. They would just say, I don't get it. I am the best, but this guy just won't listen to me. He just doesn't take any advice. No matter what I say, he just kind of gets defensive or starts explaining himself how, well, actually, no, the reason I said that was because I thought the person needed, they're actually implying this instead. So this is very simple, and you can apply this to anything, into your daily life, into your relationships, into your family, friends. This isn't some kind of trick. This is just how a person communicates to a person and to make sure they understand you correctly without being extra offended or people's ego getting in the way. So I'm going to use a very easy example. You just took your new friend to the gym, or maybe he's not new, maybe he's an old friend, but this is one of his first days in the gym. And you already know he's anxious, he's never been there, he feels out of shape. And basically you're gonna show him how to do a few things. So you're teaching him how to do an exercise, and you see that obviously he's not quite following instructions, and it's fine, it's normal, he's not gonna understand everything from the first go. But in one scenario, you start telling him, yeah, bro, just keep your back straight. No, that part, you have to, don't lock out your knees. Oh, and make sure you're going back all the way. He's like, oh, okay. He does the second set. And you say again, come on, bro, I told you, gotta keep your back straight. Don't forget about that. You want to get hurt? You guys get the point. Something along those lines. And obviously, the friend that's teaching him is still right. You want to maintain the correct posture. You want to have the right technique. But what's happening to your friend is that he's slowly getting more and more anxious. Because now, not only does he feel like he doesn't fit in, but he also feels like now he's doing it wrong, and maybe he's not cut out for the gym, or maybe it's not meant for him, and next time he's not even coming with you. Now, in the second scenario, you see your friend is doing it wrong, so you choose one thing to criticize him on. Not 5, 1. Just one thing. And you start first by complimenting something that they're doing well. Don't start with the negative, because as soon as you say the negative thing, they get self-conscious, especially a beginner. So maybe I would say something like, damn, you got really good leg genetics. How are you pushing this? So you gas them up, and then you drop the... So the only thing is, I like to keep my back straight because I just don't want to get hurt. But all in all, you're an absolute beast. So after he's done his set, he gets up and starts walking around the gym like he's got the biggest dick. He now forgot that he's anxious because you gassed him up so much, and you still managed to layer in some criticism to make sure he actually gets better, and he now has the heaviest balls in the gym. That's an absolute win. That is so good. Just watch. Do that next time. So think of it like a sandwich, right? You have the bread, which is not the sugar coating. You don't have to sugarcoat anything, but it's the compliment. Just point out anything they're doing well. And then you layer in the criticism, because after you told a person a compliment, they're more likely to be receptive to listen to the next thing you have to say, even if it's a negative thing. And don't focus on it too much. Of course, it depends where the person's at. If they're super snowflake or they have a huge ego, you just kind of mention it lightly. Don't go crazy. So that's the middle part of the sandwich, like the meat. And then immediately, once that's done, you layer on the other bun. You complete the sandwich and you basically patch up the fact that you just tore into the person. And so after the interaction, after your criticism, they still feel positive. They didn't feel like you just destroyed them. So the first compliment is there to break down their defenses, to make them receptive to your criticism. And the second one is there to patch it up so that they leave the interaction feeling it was positive. And you can absolutely spam this. Just spam this strategy. Literally, the entire workout, that's all you're doing. Damn, your back looks huge already. I'd just keep my elbows tucked a little bit. But other than that, I think you're gonna make a lot of progress. I can't wait to see that. So that's it. That's the technique. But here's what you have to look out for. First, never make these comments or compliments or criticisms fake. It's always gonna be genuine. People can smell your bullshit from a mile away. It has to be genuine. You have to actually mean it. That's the only way it works. If you're just saying it to say it, they will know and they're gonna focus on the criticism that much more, and it's just gonna turn into a shit sandwich. That's not what we want. We want the person to take our criticism and our development for them. And I'll give you guys an example. So I was training this one person and I used to go to people's doors. Yes, and before you guys say anything, I was that guy that knocks on your door and disturbs your peace and you'll probably get pissed off. And times were different back then. It is what it is. And let's move on now. And so when I was training this person, she would say things to the customer that were not genuine. So imagine we're there at someone's door. She goes, "Hi, yeah, I like your garden." And me and the customer standing there look back. There's no garden. What garden? So obviously that was a cheap attempt at trying to compliment a customer. So anything that came out of her mouth after was completely ignored, and the person just had this negative feeling towards her because she was not genuine. So that goes to show that if you're going to make a compliment, it has to be genuine. If you don't think it's going to be genuine, don't even say it at all, because if it's considered not genuine, the person now dislikes you. And some of you are probably sitting there thinking, well, I don't know, I can't find something that I genuinely care to say about a person. Like, I don't care. Trust me, that was me. Some people that were close to me, sure, I could find something good to say, but people who weren't as close, I could not care less to even talk to them, much less make a positive comment towards them. And that may be a challenge for people who are just starting to develop their social skills, because you need to actually learn to genuinely connect with people, even if they're strangers. And when you can't do that, and I could not do that, you just don't care about other people at all. And that's just some low-level shit. I'm just gonna call it out there. So be genuine with your compliments whenever you're about to give somebody advice or criticism. The second thing to be aware of is how much criticism is too much or how much is not enough. Well, you have to start measuring it. You have to start trying to see how they respond. You never start crazy. You see the kind of person it is, and you just give a little bit. Hey, I would just personally do this a little bit different. That's all. If the next time they're doing the exercise or they're doing whatever you're teaching them, it's the exact same way they just did it before your criticism, it means it wasn't effective enough. So now you have to turn it up. Make it a little bit stronger. So here's how I would turn this up. If a person's not being receptive to my criticism, I'm just gonna go a little bit harder at them. So instead of saying, well, I would do it this way, I would put it on them. I'll start saying, you should do it this way. And the entire thing would look like, hey, I really like your form. Like your arms are in the right place, your legs, your knees. The only thing is your back needs some work. But other than that, no, you got it. Do you see how I just put it on them? And now that you said you put it back on them, they feel a little bit more attacked. But sometimes they need to feel that in order to actually make the change. They need to feel a little bit of that discomfort. And usually, for somebody with a really high ego, that you just give them a compliment and then throw in a little criticism, that's not even going to work. You're going to have to tune down the compliments and really increase the criticism. And I'm sure we all know those people who have such a high ego, they're never going to take anyone's criticism. So how I would say it is, hey bro, it's not bad, but I'll be honest, your form sucks. One of the worst forms I've ever seen, actually. But I think you have great potential, because if you do fix that one thing, you're going to be a beast. So now, in between my sandwich, the middle part, I just made it like a knife. I twisted it. I didn't just say you suck, I also added tonality into it. I made it seem much more serious. So there you have it. Depending on what the person needs, this is how you adjust those levels. How much compliment to give versus how much criticism. You have to just adjust those. And you're only going to get better with experience. So don't expect to get the exact perfect balance from the first couple tries. That's not going to happen. But it will still be better than just flat out being a nice guy and not saying anything, or calling them out and saying, that sucks. Because now they just feel like shit. The third thing that I'm going to say is that yes, some people are still going to be offended, and there's nothing you can do about that. You can give the best possible delivery of the system, and it's still going to sting them. Because even if you haven't used any harsh words, and this is a extra sensitive person or extra egotistical person, their mind is still going to detect that something negative was said towards them. And even if you gave them the best compliment ever and then told them some criticism very lightly, they still might get offended. And I'll give you guys an insight. This happens with chicks all the time. You can literally tell them, hey baby, that food was amazing. I love the way you cook. I just love the taste and all that good stuff. The only thing is I don't really like pickles. But other than that, 10 out of 10. I'd eat it again every day. Even if you put pickles in there. And she's still gonna feel bad a little bit. Even if you said all those good things, and you just don't like pickles, for example, she's gonna feel a little bit bad. And you know what? That's okay. You still said it in the best way possible. You have to get the criticism across. Maybe you don't like pickles, so you don't want to eat pickles in your food. You don't want to be rude about it. It's just something you don't eat. And you have to let her know somehow. So this is how you do it. And maybe it's gonna sting a bit, and she might not take it that well, but she'll take it a lot better than you just saying, yeah, thanks for the food, babe. Just don't put pickles next time. That's a lot worse. We can all agree on that. And next time, she'll make the food without the pickles, and she's not going to feel bad about it. You would have made some progress. And the final thing I'm going to say is how you feel about saying those things to people. Maybe you're not someone who likes to criticize people. I don't really like to criticize people. I don't want to always be the guy that tells somebody they did it wrong and then make them feel bad. But I also understand is that it's absolutely necessary, especially if it's someone you care about and if it's important, and probably no one else will tell them, so it might as well be you, because in the grand scheme of things, it's going to help them, and they will also realize that. And what's funny is I was coaching a guy that used to work for me, and he would always ask, how do you do it? I just can't say things the way you say them. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I don't want to be rude. I don't know how to say this. It's just that I'm a nice guy. I'm not you. I can't tell people these things. I don't have it in me. I feel bad for it. And I looked at him like, so what you're basically saying is that I have the capacity to be an asshole. He's like, well, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I'm a nice guy. Okay, I get it, no problem. And I explained that, hey, I used to also be the kind of person that didn't want to give people criticism or get them to change something, because I rather deal with the pain of eating pickles, for example, than telling them that I don't like pickles. And so how I got out of that mindset, it's not because I had to shift into being an asshole. It's just the fact that I understood what holds more weight. You being a nice guy and not getting your own feelings hurt by making someone feel bad versus the person you care about doing something wrong and never knowing it. Imagine from our earlier example, your gym buddy does the exercise wrong and then ultimately can end up hurting themselves, and you're the only coach or trainer they've had, and you've never told them to fix it. So then 5 years later, they have a back injury. That outweighs hurting a little feeling. So whenever I'm about to tell someone that they're doing something wrong and I know they may not like it, yeah, sure, I still feel bad about it. I'm not a robot. I don't like to make people feel bad, but it is my duty to tell them the right way to do things, especially if I'm the person that's responsible for them. If I brought them to the gym, I'm responsible for teaching them correctly. If I need to tell my friend that I don't agree with his decision, I will still say it. It might not feel nice to me or to him, but I will still say it. And that way I remain myself. I remain authentic. I remain real. And they know that I'm always going to be there to tell them the truth. I'm not going to pretend just to not hurt someone's feelings. So just consider the weight of hurting someone's feelings by criticism versus never helping them fix their problem. So yes, that also means if it's a very minor little thing, maybe telling them a criticism isn't worth it. So then don't. Don't be that one person that constantly nags about every little thing and you try to fix every little imperfection. Nobody cares about that. It's not worth it. But if it is something important, do it in the exact system and strategy that I just taught you. So that's it, guys. If you learned something from this video and if you want to join me on my journey, then you can subscribe. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one.